Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, listeners, wherever you are in the world right now. This is Ramblings of a Hellblazer with your host, Chris Gordon. Today I bring to you a podcast which is close to home for me. This is with a gentleman who founded and runs, along with his staff, Wales Comicon, which is the Comic Con that I always go to. It's a very fantastic place to be. Atmosphere is absolutely amazing, and you guys will know it from where I met Matt Ryan last year, and where I met many guests, Jed Brophy, Ryan Gage, all those guys. So the guest lineups are amazing. The atmosphere is amazing. It's a place I highly recommend you go. You can follow them on Twitter at Wales Comic Con, or on Facebook Wales Comic Con, or even www.walescomicon.com. So without further ado, I shall introduce you to Mr. Jaime Milner. So good evening, Jamie. How are you?
I'm great, thanks. Good evening, and just cheers for having me on this the podcast this evening. So it's hugely appreciated.
No, pleasure is all mine. As I thoroughly enjoy as a guest of Comic Con. I've been to three now, four coming up. And I've been to a couple of others, but I've got to honestly say I thoroughly enjoy the Wales one the best. I'm not knocking any of the others, but yeah, not in any means whatsoever. Totally destroy me. But the Wales one, there's just an atmosphere about it. Just seems to be it's just a really good place. Plus, it's 40 minutes from where I live, which makes it even better.
That's always a bonus. Yeah, no, it's one of those things we've always been. People comment about it, and they've always said what a great atmosphere it is, and how fun it is to be a part of during the day. So that's always one of those sort of staple points in terms of feedback that we've had, and we certainly, love hearing that and kind of endear to that. So it's just wonderful for that, that people plan their year essentially a lot of the time, or holidays, etc., around coming to this event. So yeah, no, it's very humbling to hear people with such positive feedback about it. So.
No, that's cool. I mean, what got you into? I said one of the classic questions, like you said, you always get asked, is what got you into organising these things in the first place? 'Cause, I mean, Wales Comic Con has just grown and grown and grown over the last few years, so it must be really sort of awesome to see, that happening.
Yeah, I went to these shows. I started going, I think I was 19, 18 or 19. I think 19. I was in college, and I just saw an advert in a magazine, and it was a double page advert for a show in Manchester,
Hmm.
and it was the first time that the show was taking place there. And I'd never heard of anything like this before, obviously being up here, because I think a lot of the time it was always London or Birmingham, and that was it, pretty
Yeah.
much. And all the other sort of obvious ones that were in Milton Keynes and stuff, but they were so far away that we never heard of it, especially in sunny Wrexham.
Yeah.
So I saw this advert and was just completely taken aback that you could go and meet the cast of, at the time it was Lord of the Rings, because I'm a huge Lord of the Rings fan.
Hmm.
The books, the movies, everything about it I absolutely love, which most people who see me online on social media will know already. So yeah, I saw that and was like, I've got to go. Well, what on earth is it? What happens? What takes place when you get there? How do you meet them? What's it like to meet them? These are
Hmm.
obviously famous people that you all see in movies and TV series and whatnot. So I kind of rallied a group of fellow geeky friends, and off we went to Manchester, and I was hooked. That was it. I went there and spent far too much money than I'd ever planned, and they had a good time. They all enjoyed it, and everyone got photos, etc., etc. But then I had so much fun that I drove back the next day on my own just to go there and soak it all up again. And it
Cool.
was great fun. And I met, I always remember meeting John Rhys Davis, who is still one of my favorite people
Oh wow.
to meet.
Yeah.
He was just so kind of gracious in kind of introducing himself, and he came across that he wanted to know more about you than I wanted to know about him, and I was like, wow, it was just, for me, it was kind of
Yeah.
it kind of takes you by surprise when people are this celebrity status, and he was just like, hey, tell me about this. What do you do for a living? What do you do? How old are you? Where you go to school? And all this, or whatever it was at the time. And
Hmm.
to me, that really struck a chord.
Cool.
That he was interested in all that, and made it like try to connect on that level. And again, I also met Ray Park, who remembered me and was like, hey, and signed some stuff and all this for me with my name that he remembered. And to
Yeah.
me, that was really cool. And I appreciated that. And again, these shows, they're a platform for people to meet, the guests and obviously see the vendors and everything else there. So,
Hmm.
but yeah, I was hooked from that. From that moment on, that was it. I wanted to go to these events, and I did. I went to events all around the UK, and me and my partner would go to shows that were weekend, 3 days long, and stay over places. And I think we even went on holiday around once. So I was like, hey, should we go away? Yeah, okay. Oh, there's a show on. Boom, there we go.
Yeah.
Let's connect the two. So that was fun. And then it came to the point where I was very active online, with guest suggestions and all this for these shows. And I even made a Photoshop an image together of a guest suggestion lineup that I had. And ironically, Xander Berkeley was on one of those lineups. So that's quite nice that he's here coming with us, to the next show. And then I just sat there one day and thought, why does nothing like that happen here?
Yep.
And the next minute I was looking at venue options, and we'd gone about this whole idea of doing a show maybe around Welsh celebrities, and then it kind of went back to the whole Comicon thing. And the first one we did, we wanted to be different, but it wanted to be similar so that people felt comfortable and enjoy all that same. So we actually called it the North Wales Film Exhibition.
Right.
In 2008. And I always remember because one of the guests came up to me and said, why did you call it an exhibition out of interest? And I said, well, every other name under the sun is gone.
Yeah.
Unless you make up some random word.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, but there's not really much in terms of being exhibited besides the guests, really.
Hmm.
And I said, that's true. So then we sat there and thought about it. Wrexham Comicon, Wrexham Film Convention.
Yeah.
I said, hey, nothing happens really in Wales that's taking everyone by surprise or by storm. Let's call it Wales Comicon.
Yeah, fair enough.
The rest is history. No one in the UK was using the moniker Comic-Con just as Comic-Con at the time. It was all, film, TV conventions or, based around vendors and memorabilia goods or whatnot and there's items and all this. So I said, hey, let's just call it Comic-Con. That's what the US is doing. That's what all the other big countries are doing like that and big shows. Let's just call it Wales Comicon. Will be the national pride show for this country because, we are proud of being Welsh. We love, we live. Let's do it. And we did it, and the rest is history. So here we are today.
Yeah, we are today. It's actually funny. I mean, obviously starting up, you're right, there's nothing for this for years. One little thing I did back in the 90s, I've actually just mentioned it on the other show. I filmed with Michael Sheard, the late great Michael Sheard.
Yeah.
Filmed with him. I was an extra. I was a stormtrooper, Nazi stormtrooper in the background as he was Hitler in a documentary. But he drank us under the table every night for 3 nights. And one of the things he did say, because I was saying we need, obviously he'd love to have stuff up here. And he turned around to me at that point and he said, if you find a venue, I'll get the guests. And I'm glad that didn't work out because you've come along and you've just knocked that out of the water with Wales Comicon, which is probably more than I could have ever done. For me, it was just sitting there thinking I was about, oh God, how old was I? I was in my 20s, and it was just like you are, but I just didn't have the drive that you guys have got at the time.
Well, I'll tell you, it was a scary moment. I was 22 when I started this, and I think I was 22 at the time, and it took us about 6 months to get it kind of off the ground to launch it, and then. Because I was doing that and have been doing this whilst I was working a full-time job.
Right.
It was the best part of 5 or 6 years. And then about 3 years ago, we did this full-time.
Yeah.
So, and not everyone knew that was going on. Everyone just kind of thinks you sit there and, rub elbows with a lot of celebrities and drive in limos and own 10 houses and all this, but it's not, I was working in for want of a better word, 9-to-5 job, 5 days a week, trying to juggle this, taking calls when I shouldn't have been taking calls, maybe in another job during the day. You'd come home, you would take calls at night. It was crazy. So to be doing it full time now is it's a sense of great achievement, I think, for us, which, we're really proud of. And to do it in our hometown, especially in Wales, is something else that we really love and enjoy doing. So yeah, it's been a long road, but it's been a many ups and downs, but it's been great fun, and it's it's certainly a staple point on the convention calendar now in the UK, I think.
Yeah, it definitely is. I can vouch for how much hard work. I mean, I've just do this little podcast compared to yours, and my wife will quite easily attest to how irate she gets because I come home and I'll just sit on Twitter and trying to reach the people I get. So I really, again, I thank Wales Comicon because it was the idea from November. It's like, you know what? They're all coming to Comic Con at Wales. So
There you go.
yeah,
You see?
so
There
again,
you go.
you've boosted me up as well. So thanks for that. But your guest lineups that you have are well, I think known. Um, well, they're known. People come from the whole of Europe to come to Wales Comic Con to see the guests that you've had. You've had some fantastic guests in the past, and the guest lineup you've got for April, which is the first 2-day event for you, isn't it?
It is, yes. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Sorry to interrupt you.
That's all right. No, no. Please do. This is for you to sing out. Yeah, first this your 2-day event. So yeah, I think it's going to be fantastic because obviously going down to Wales Comic Con the times that I've been there and seeing everything in a day. I just imagining how cool it's going to be over 2 days now, and obviously you've got different guests on different days, some guests on both days. The cosplayers coming down, it's just going to be such an awesome experience. I think, like I said before, the atmosphere there is brilliant. So to extend that, it's just going to be make it a much bigger experience for people to come to, especially if they're travelling from far away. They've now got a whole weekend, they can chill out.
Yeah, it's the idea. It was never the aim to go out there and do a 2-day show. That was never a thing last year, and then it just kind of grew again, each show. So you kind of had to sit down and review and go, well, hang on a minute, this is growing exponentially faster than we'd ever imagined. So what was the next step? And hey, everyone knows we have a fantastic and beautiful venue at the university. The talk hall there is absolutely superb in the William Aston Hall.
Yeah.
So that has been one of the major talk points of our event, which again, is another thing that we're proud of. So to then go, hey, we're going to do 2 days here is then, I just think it's just more value for everyone, really, because a lot of people, as you say, travel, they spend the weekend down here. So it just kind of makes sense. And yeah, there's different guests on some of the different days. That's sometimes down to scheduling, different people. We've had one guest that can only do the Saturday because he's filming on the Sunday. We've got some people that can only do the Sunday because they're doing something on the Saturday or the Friday, so they can't travel down there. So there's a little bit of this and that involved. But, the general, you've got to try and make it appeal so that people have something to see all weekend.
Yeah.
And it's just trying to make that kind of work. That's certainly new for us, for sure. But yeah, it's been smooth so far, pretty much. It's generally the same. We've obviously just double booking the hotels and things like that, and arranging quite a bit more travel for people. But it's the same show in essence, and you're just going to get twice as much flavor across the 2 days. Really. So it's going to be good fun. It's certainly a lot of new territory for us and the team. But I think they're more than capable of this because I've got one of the best teams working on it in the world. So, but it's all about what the fans want. I think to give them twice, the beauty that we've had so far is it should just knock it out of the park, really.
Cool. I definitely think it's going to be one to look forward to. I mean, and the other thing as well, that obviously the guest lineups that you get. I mean, with Comic Cons, you have such a nice. I'm going to go back to the guests again. The variety of guests you have appeases to so many different people. So that's really good. I mean, you've got James Masters coming this year in April. That's just awesome.
Well, you have to. It's one of those things. People say to me, "Why do you have this kind of guest here? Why do you book this certain variety of guests, or whether it be, an artist, an actor." A writer, a wrestler, musician, sports personality, whoever it may be, it's all pop culture. It's all part of something fantastic and amazingly geeky and fun and ultra cool. So, hey, I'm a huge geek and love movies and TV, but I'm also a huge football fan and wrestling fan.
Hmm.
You know, you're allowed to cross over to these genres and enjoy the different things in life. Whether you enjoy one thing, four things, 10 things, you know, just have fun with it. You don't
Yeah.
have to go to the show and take part in all of this. You don't have to meet every guest if you don't want to meet.
Hmm.
You tailor Comic Con to what you want. And people say, "Hey, what's it doing at a Comic Con?" Well, go look at the biggest one in the world, which is possibly San Diego, which is a very different style of event these days, but
Yeah. It is.
fantastic all the same. And they've got, you've got talk panels with things like toy companies. Uh, there's obviously comic books there. There's all the movies and TV shows under the sun. Wrestling is there, a very prominent thing. So, there's all sorts going on there. And it's, I say, why the hell not? Everyone can enjoy what they enjoy, what their hobbies are, what their taste is. So if you want to go to Comic Con because you want to meet the wrestling guests, fantastic. If you want to go there because there's an artist or a writer you want to meet, fantastic. If you want to go there because there's an actor you want to meet, that's great. If you want to go there because you want to do all of that, even better. But, we've always been said the variety is fantastic there in the lineups we get. Again, it's just down to the, hard work ethic, turning out great shows, great experiences, treating people well, treating people with the respect that they deserve, and not lying to the fan.
Hmm.
So that's what we do. We run a good show for the fans. We run a good show for the attendees, for the guests, for the vendors. But everyone as part of that show has a good time.
Yeah.
That's how you achieve it,
Definitely, definitely, and that's something I will also say as well is the fact that the staff that you do have and who come in because volunteers and everyone who works on that
Yep.
day are just absolutely phenomenal. The work, God knows the hours that they work in before we see them. God knows about the hours afterwards. But,
More this April.
yeah, more to him exactly. But like the photography stuff. I mean, they're churning out those hundreds and thousands of photos that come through from the photo ops in a
Oh,
nice,
yes.
within a nice timely manner. The people, the security guys, they're all like friendly, and there's not one person, there's not one time that I've turned and I've thought to myself, because you go some places and you're just like, that's rude, that happens. But I've got to say again at Wales Comicon, and I'm not saying it's just because I'm talking to you and I enjoy Wales Comicon. It just happens to be that the staff who work there and all the volunteers are just absolutely brilliant. They'll go out their way to help you. When you're queuing before you even come in, you've got your staff guys coming up and cheering
Yep.
people up, and
Yep.
you've got vendors coming and selling bacon butties, and which is where very
Yeah,
welcome
of
in nice
course.
cold air in the freezing
Yeah.
cold. But every single part of it just makes the whole day special. It's not just the celebs who come; obviously they're great, but like you say, it's the people who work there, the volunteers who come in to help and give their time, and just as someone who goes to one of these things, it just makes a whole really day special. I've got a 9-year-old lad who trails around with me all the time as well, and he gets bored really quickly, but he never does at Comic Con. It's just so much for him to see, so much for him to do. People are they'll come out their way to take photos. The
Yeah.
cosplay guests, anyone. It's just great.
Yeah, the team are fantastic, and they've been doing this for years now, and they don't do it because they all go to other shows. There are some of the team that go to a lot of shows, but the majority of them now are quite a tight knit family from around here, around the area,
Hmm.
and it's friends of friends who have become our friends. A
Yeah.
lot of the time. So it's become quite a family, and everyone enjoys. There's a lot of banter and jokes and fun and games when it's all being set up. But at the same time, the jobs get done, and they know, you treat people how you would want to be treated at a show. That's always been one of my things when dealing with this.
Hmm.
And wherever I've worked, it's always treat people the way you would want to be treated in this situation. And again, it comes down to that service, that respect, that honesty. Just be that with people, and everything will work out. Everyone will have a great time. And hats off, these guys work so hard. It's one of those. They're just so full of commitment and support to make this event a success, and they love doing it. That's the other thing. They love doing it, which for me, I can't ask for anything more.
Yeah.
I really can't. They're absolutely a huge credit to the event. The feedback we have about the crew is always fantastic, positive. I just can't say anymore. They're just fantastic. They really are great, and they have become our extended family almost. And again, you work with people and build relationships. And you mentioned the photography. We work with Rogue Events, who do their own events, fantastic events. We've been working with Rogue Events for a few years now. We also work with Preston City Wrestling, ECW, a wrestling company within the UK. Fantastic relationship with those guys. They've been doing their own events for many years now. Exactly. It's just about building those relationships. So that's what we do, and it shows through the crew, through the guests and through everything, and the attendees, the response. About 4 years ago, the show popped. We went in thinking we'll have maybe 1,000 people. This was when it was kind of growing.
Yeah.
Over 5,500 showed up on the day.
Whoa.
And this was when everything was in the sports hall. So you would go in that sports hall, the entry was there, the talks were in there, the photo ops were in there. So you can imagine what that was like. But those guys handled it, addressed it, worked their socks off, literally, and still do. And again, the rest is history. So yeah, they are fantastic. They really are the hardest working and just fantastic people to be around, and they help me get through the day. They help each other get through the day because it is hard work, you know?
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Sitting there, maybe managing queues or managing this and that, and it's not the most glamorous jobs all the time, but they do it with such commitment and support for the event. So that's why at the after show party everyone chills out. But yeah, no, sorry to ramble on, but they're fantastic. They really are. They deserve so much credit because without them, the event just would not happen.
Yeah, no, ramble away. It's fine. It's ramblings of a hellblazer, after all.
It is, yes. Let's all blaze together.
Yeah. But no, as I say, you're right, and I think that does reflect in the quality of the show itself. Is the fact that everybody loves what they do there. All your staff, they all love what they're doing, and that just shines through because then it makes the guests who have come in happy because obviously they're travelling from far away, so they've got nice people that they're working with. It just makes the whole atmosphere lift, and that all starts from the top in a place like that. So it's you and the staff that are there just sort of really lift that whole spirit up, and I think that's what Wales Comicon has got its name for. Is because of that, because of the overall friendliness of everyone. Because you go to some places and the staff are there, but they're so busy that they say they're so busy. You guys are so busy, but you still manage to put a smile on everyone's face. It's just that going that extra mile. It's just like you say, exuding, living your passion is a phrase I think could
absolutely.
be used for your stuff, and that's what you need to do.
They're just the same as everyone else. They're excited about the announcements. They want to see which guest is coming, or which activity is going to be announced, or which panel is going to get confirmed. They may not necessarily be able to see that during the show. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, they might be stuck somewhere, but
because there's this to be done, that to be done. But the same again, it's that passion, support, commitment to help drive that show to the success that it is, which makes this team a fantastic one. And these guys, like I said, a lot of them are local, but we have a lot of people that also travel. I mean, some of the guys travel from as far as places like Sweden, Belgium, and things like that, just to work the show, to support the show, and support us. So I cannot thank them enough. So
yeah, that is cool. It's definitely a good thing. So, regarding the guests, are there any more? I'm going to ask now because I've got you on the spot. Are there any more announcements to come? Obviously, near
always
the time.
More announcements.
Are you going to let us in on any exclusive? No, damn.
No, sorry. No, there's always something. It's people always ask, when are more guests being announced? You can only announce something when it's confirmed with someone, when it's contracted with someone. But at the same time, announcements can happen up until the day. I've been approached now the day before Comic-Con. Hey, can I come to this event? I'm in the area, or I want to do this. So just keep watching. The social media is the only place really that will be where the announcements take place. Certainly that close to a show, but anything can happen right up until the weekend, man.
Oh yeah,
But
true.
no exclusives right now. So
Damn.
unfortunately, sorry, but there we
No,
go.
no, it's fine. I mean, I'm happy with the lineup at the moment. I'm just looking again at the website now and just seeing who's coming, and it's just exciting. I mean, we were talking before, obviously, like Matt Ryan coming back for a second time. He was here last April, caused a
Yep.
huge storm for Constantine and Arrow and James Masters. Xander Barkley, who'll be on my
Yep.
show tomorrow.
Yep.
Thanks to you.
Thanks to you. Hey, I didn't do anything.
You announced him, and I was like, oh damn, yeah, I'll have to.
Yeah, I did.
And
Yeah,
that's how
well,
it
it's funny.
started.
I've been talking with Xander for a few years now. We got connected via some of the other cast from 24 because
Right.
I've got an agency where I book some guests into other shows, which is great fun. It really is something that I love doing and being a part of. So it gets
Yeah.
us to see other shows and parts of the world as well. So that's always great fun. But we spoke about doing shows together for a while, and then when I'd heard about The Walking Dead role that
Yeah.
obviously he was going to be a part of, I said, this is going to be huge. This is going to change it once again for you. So we've had quite a few conversations about it, and we're trying to book a few different shows right now. But yeah, no, he was really excited because he traveled around Wales when he was younger. He was telling me about it on the
All
phone
right.
the other night. Yeah, and he was excited to come back, and he wants to visit a friend of his over in Europe as well. So it's kind of mixing it up that way. But yeah, he hasn't done a show in the UK for around about 10 years, I think.
Wow.
So I think it was back when he was on 24. So maybe
Yeah.
longer than that. I could be wrong. But he's certainly not done a show outside in Europe and hasn't done a US show for a long time. So yeah, we're really excited about it. The lineup, again, you kind of go into it with an idea or a few ideas of where you want it to go.
Yeah.
But at the end, it's so different by the end of it. Because, schedules change, everything changes for people with work commitments, and
Yeah.
TV shows or movies can come up or whatnot. So it's constantly changing and evolving. And you just never know who gets put, in your direction in terms of contacts. I mean, I had a text earlier from a friend of mine who comes to the show each year, and he said, "Hey, I'm doing theatre with someone. Do you want me to put you in touch?" And I said, "Yeah, that'd be fantastic." So it's one of those. It's wonderful the amount of doors that open. From, again, having great relationships with people and treating people with respect and honesty and having just a great experience together. And that's why people come back. That's why the guests come back to the show.
Yeah.
And we always get the odd comment where it says, "Why is this guest coming back? Why don't you get new guests?" There is always new guests.
Excellent.
Always new guests.
Well, yeah.
But
I mean,
the same guests come back. Sorry.
no, sorry. Carry on.
The same guests may come back for some shows because not everyone has been to Wales Comicon in the world.
Yeah.
So they may want to meet this guest. And the row is popular, so it's one of those. It's when you have people like Mark Addy, Chris Barry, Robert Llewellyn, Gareth David Lloyd, who've been to the show a number of times and are fantastic people to work with. They're always popular, but people still want to meet them. They haven't met them yet that will come to the show. So that's why you appease to that crowd. You've always got to try and juggle that new audience and your existing audience, which is why this year, as you said earlier, we've got James Masters. We've been wanting to work with James for a number of years, and it just came to the moment because I know James's agent very well. So we said, "Hey, can this happen?" Yes, it can. Well, there you go. It's happened, and it was a fantastic response, as everyone can see online. That was one of the biggest responses we've had on social media in almost 10 years.
Awesome. Well, he is a cracking guest.
Oh, absolutely. And again, but Buffy and Angel has always been huge for us. So
Yeah, they're massive.
kind
Massive in
of
their day.
made sense, to go down that avenue. And again, he covers so many boxes: Torchwood, Smallville, all these fantastic shows, which again do really well at our event. So it was kind of like a match made in heaven, without sounding cheesy. But that confirmation was pretty epic for us.
No, that's really cool. And I know from the past that you're right. You're announcing guests pretty much up to the week, the few days before that
Oh
I've
yeah,
seen online, and obviously schedules change. I think the one I think is, I'm sure it is November. It was Graham McTavish I'd like to see, but again schedules change, and he had to. I
yeah,
think it was Outlander. But then the whole
yeah.
thing is you're not upset. Well, you're not upset that they don't come because they're not coming because their schedules changed, and all of us it's because they're going to who's filming Outlander. So that's a cracking show. So you're happy for the guys in a way because obviously they
Of
can't come
course,
because it's like
yeah,
whoa, it's like hang on a minute, no, you might not be coming to the Comic Con, but damn, you're going to get this. You're going to be seeing you in this top show that's
yeah.
coming on.
It's one of those things which will always be a part of the events at the same time, even though it's not something that everyone says or wants to admit. But work commitments in terms of filming will always come first. And again, we should be thrilled because we're getting new TV series, new movie, new this, whatever it may
Exactly.
be, which is fantastic, exciting at the same time. There will always be conventions to go to. So you will likely get another opportunity to meet these wonderful people. So yeah, that's why, of course, it's disappointing when someone drops out. But at the same time, another door will open. One may close, another would open. The show goes on. So,
Exactly. And it's never short of, I say, there's never an empty desk. There's always people there, and the guests are always really top-notch guests who come. So it's cracking. Regardless of the ones who pull out, you pull someone else straight back in. Within a day or two, the turnaround that you guys do to do that, obviously, it's just again a testament to obviously the team that you've got to be able to work together and get that in.
yeah. Yeah, it's one of those things where it'll catch you off guard, certainly,
Hmm.
but there's always something that you've got to be working on, certainly, especially with these situations. So yeah, it's if it happens, it happens, but you deal with it. And again, as I say, you just continue to the next one, and one door closes, another opens, and away you go. And the lineup is what it is when you come to the show day, and everyone enjoys it. So there we go.
Cool. Excellent. Well, thanks very much for that, Jamie. Is there anything I think you'd like to carry on and say about your Comic Con before we wrap up?
Hey, I just want to thank you for interviewing me, having me on here just to help promote it, man. It's hugely appreciated. And again, we just thank everyone for the support. And it's crazy to think where we are now. We're almost 10 years in from when I was just a wide-eyed 22-year-old looking at this going, hey, can we do something? And here we are today. So yeah, to have this and do this as a living is truly just completely a blessing. It's to do this as with my family and
Hmm.
some fantastic friends, and to meet new friends in this business, and it's opened some very strange and fantastic doors for us. We just finished making a movie with some friends over the past sort of 8 months or so, 9 months or so,
Cool.
which we will be doing promo for at the Comicon.
Uh-huh.
That's kind of an exclusive, I guess. So
Awesome. You're here.
we're working on a free signing with some of the cast and crew of that. So yeah, that should be good fun.
Excellent.
But that's yeah. Hey, I never ever thought in 10 years I'd produce a movie, but that's done now.
That's pretty
So
cool.
the bucket list is getting ticked off. But yeah, no, it's been fantastic. The fans, the support online is astounding. When people come up to me to the show and thank me, and for something that I concocted in my bedroom, several years ago,
Yeah.
it's just beyond me. And when one of the things, it was a year, someone came up to me, a fan came up to me, and said, "I've got a gift for you." I said, "Excuse me?" "Yeah, I've got a gift for you."
Hmm.
Wow, completely flabbergasted.
Yeah.
And you'll see it, and it's on my Twitter pinned at the top. And they made a Funko figure, which I'm sure people know about,
Mm.
and it was of me. And I was almost in tears, man, because for someone to put that time and effort, I say a fan, but the whole family become friends now. I love them to pieces,
Yeah.
and they come to the show every time. And to do that because you put something together, as a business, as an event, as a public event for people to come to and have a good time, and for someone to do that, put their time, effort, money into, just speaks volumes. And again, I was blown away. It's crazy, and the relationship that the attendees have with the show is fantastic. I still think they are the best fans in the world. They are the most passionate. They are the most supportive. They are the most loyal. Forget the politics you get in the cities. I don't have time for that. Wales Comicon's here to stay. There is more to come next year, we hope, with a new show. The dream is expanding. Thank you for staying with us. Thank you for joining us on the journey. We hope you will continue on that journey with us into new ventures. And I will see you in April, where I will look completely stressed out to the rafters. But let's have a good time.
Awesome words. So yeah, that's been great, and that will get passed out. So everyone, please go to www.walescomiccon.com or follow on Twitter or even on Facebook, and we'll be able to see what fabulous guests there are and keep updated. That's great. Cheers for your time, James. That's been brilliant.
No worries. Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much again once to Jaime for his time to talk about Wales Comicon. I hope you all enjoyed that, and I hope those of you who can make it will be coming down. See you all soon. This has been Chris Gordon. Goodbye.